Module 6 Case Study. Problem Identification and Analysis. What do we know? We know Roosevelt High is a prestigious school in an affluent area of a city with a professional community, and the students have the newest technology available to them. We'll assume the school takes advantage of this and uses a high level of technology also. Dr. Forbes is administrator at Roosevelt, has been for 9 years. He's respected by parents and has the respect of his peers as he's won some awards. He is focused on maintaining the school's prestigious reputation throughout the state. Ms. Walker is a second-year teacher with some postgraduate education. She teaches specialized subjects like zoology, botany, and genetics, and she is academically focused. A prior discussion between Dr. Forbes and Ms. Walker was about techniques to relieve student stress and be more positive in her interactions with students. It was unsuccessful. Ms. Walker did not have success implementing the techniques discussed in the discussion. Over Veterans Day weekend, Ms. Walker receives an email with a link to a website. It has personal comments about her. There's vulgarity used. There's a perceived threat. That threat was, who would like Ms. Walker to disappear? And she became hysterical. She contacted Dr. Forbes. He in turn read the email, kept his calm, said he believed it was a prank, but did say he would print hard copies and employ the district technologist to trace the origin of the email if needed. He did not take it lightly. What do we need to know? We need to know if this was sent to her or Ms. Walker's personal email or work email. Work email would be readily available in a community with high technology, able to communicate digitally very easily. A personal email would be a different story, and it would also show a different level of intent. Any recent interactions between Ms. Walker, students, and parents through email or face-to-face. We need to know those. Grades. Any recent grade that would have caused a student to become frustrated with a low grade in her class. Did an athlete or another student involved in an extracurricular activity become ineligible because of a low grade in her class? Ms. Walker's options. She doesn't need to drive 3 hours one way to and from work with this highly stressful situation on her shoulders. Would she be willing to stay with a colleague? Does she want to take administrator leave for a few days to relieve some of the stress? Legal course of action. What avenue does the school need to take if the school can take any action at all? And Randy Franks. Ms. Walker assumes Randy Franks did this. She has given no real basis for this other than he makes snide remarks. We need to know more about Mr. Franks, his snide remarks, and the interactions between him and Ms. Walker. The problem here is that we have unsuccessful implementation of techniques to help an educator's class. We have community frustration. Parents and students have complained about Ms. Walker, I'm assuming to Ms. Walker and to Dr. Forbes. And with that, we have poor administrator follow-up. Dr. Forbes has not followed up on these complaints, or we would have seen something sooner. She is in her second year, or in the beginning of the second year, and he is still apparently not addressed the problems. Plan of action with the strategies. Plan of action, we're going to relieve community frustrations, we're going to try to successfully implement some techniques, and we're going to give appropriate administrator follow-up. Relieve community frustrations. First, we have to ensure confidence in our community that this situation is being handled swiftly and properly. We need to address the immediate problem of a website being created that was malicious in intent and directed at a teacher. We also need to address the immediate problem of Ms. Walker's frustration and her inability to teach effectively. And in the future problems, the community needs to know that this is being handled correctly, and anything that arises in the future will be handled better, swiftly, and properly. We have to successfully implement techniques for Ms. Walker to become a better teacher. We need to observe her classes to know exactly what's going on and to pinpoint where the issues are. We need to provide her feedback after we pinpoint those issues and give her the best possible information we can. And then we need to provide her with opportunities. We need to set her up with a mentor teacher, which probably should have been done in the first place. We need to find a teacher in the school who is successful and has the respect of students and parents, and set Miss Walker up with that teacher to observe. We also need to provide professional development opportunities for Miss Walker and the whole staff, just as a refresher or some initial education in this area. Miss Walker seems to be very knowledgeable in science, but doesn't have much knowledge in the other aspect of teaching, which is dealing with students. And appropriate administrator follow-up. This is probably the biggest one. We need to make a plan. Anytime there are more than 3 complaints about a particular incident with a teacher and students, we need to implement a plan. We need to break down what's going wrong and fix it as fast as we can. So with that, we would develop our plan. First, we want to review this plan, or this issue. We want to review the past communications Dr. Forbes has had with any parents or students addressed, because this stuff should have been documented. And we want to go back and review and find out where we went wrong. And next, we want to provide the opportunity for the community, students and teachers, to have this done correctly. They need to be provided an open door to come in and discuss what went wrong, where they thought it might have went wrong. And this is not a soapbox for people to come in and to stand on, but this is a provided opportunity to come in and discuss the situation in a moral and civil manner. And resolving the issues, we want to resolve the issue by promoting our students' success. We want to make sure somebody is held accountable. We want to make sure students are taught responsibility, and we want to give support. Accountability must be carried out. Students must understand that this can't be just swept under the rug. It is a big deal in our issue today, and is not acceptable. We need to teach students responsibility. I think I would implement a school-wide digital citizenship research project. With this information in the forefront of kids' minds, or this incident in the forefront of their minds, we would do a school-wide project allowing students to work together to research cyberbullying, hacking, the use of the internet in negative ways, and have them present it. It doesn't necessarily have to be for a grade, but it would be mandatory. And the students would learn from the incident and the research combined. And then we're going to offer support to the students. We don't want to martyr any students by holding them accountable. We don't want them to think that we are ostracizing them. We want to give support to the teachers. Ms. Walker needs to be encouraged to return and to continue teaching. We also need to offer support to other teachers where this incident might tarnish the school's reputation through a disgruntled teacher. We need the teachers to understand that the administration will handle this and any future events in the correct way, and they'll take it serious, and they can teach consciously without this in the back of their mind. Feelings, thinking, feelings, valuing, and identifying issues. I was thinking this is totally unnecessary. This shouldn't have happened, and we don't need it to happen again. Miss Walker, I was thinking about her. This could rattle her career. She hasn't been teaching very long, and with her knowledge, she could probably go into another field. And prevention. We really need to prevent this from happening again. We really, really do. It's unnecessary. Miss Walker didn't have to have it happen to her, and we need to prevent it from happening again. The feelings I had, I was frustrated that it's common in society today for kids, adults, peers to bully people over the internet. I was confused as how it got to this point. Why did I, as administrator, not do anything about it sooner? Maybe I didn't realize it. And I also felt responsible. I felt total responsibility that this all started with me, and it needs to be fixed. I was valuing the students. The students don't need to have this interrupt their everyday teaching and learning. I was valuing the teachers because the teachers don't need it to interrupt their jobs either. And the school. The school has a good reputation. It's supposedly the best school in the state, and it needs to stay that way. And an incident like this could do severe damage. And identifying some issues with students. Will this ever happen again? We don't know. That's a serious thing that we can't necessarily fix, but we can do our best to offer preventative measures. Teachers. How are teachers going to feel about this? If it's not handled in the correct way, teachers could feel like the administration does not support them, and that would be a big issue. And in the district could use this as an opportunity to move people, to start to take down a school, because we know that there are egos, and there are egos everywhere, and somebody in the district office could think that Dr. Forbes is time to move on. He's done, and this incident proved it. So that's an unresolved issue that we have. Components 1, 2, and 3. I think by self-reflection and communication, we're demonstrating integrity and ethical behavior. The self-reflection would be me as an administrator. I would self-reflect and look and say, this started with me because of something I didn't do. I had poor follow-up. I need to figure out why I had poor follow-up, fix it, and don't let it happen again. Communication was next. I believe communication was ethical and integrable. I believe that's did I just use that word? Sorry. Communication for the community was ethical because they need to know what's going on and how the situation is being handled, because it involves more than just a teacher and a student. It involves everybody. Fairness. Culpability. Nobody was blamed outright for this, or from the administrator's point. Dr. Forbes didn't blame Randy Franks. He didn't blame Miss Walker. He didn't blame himself. There was this was spread out, and each person has a responsibility in this. And then the distribution of professional development and knowledge. The students it's being fair to the students because they're now being required to do an assignment that will help them. I know that sounds weird to say that that's fair, but it is, because this is not solely put on the teachers and the administrators' shoulders. It's being spread out amongst the students, and it's being spread out amongst the faculty by having the faculty do some professional development and reflection on this particular incident. A code of ethics. Support. I think it is ethical, personally and professionally, to support everybody involved in this situation. By supporting the students and the teachers, everybody's going to get what they need. And action. This could have easily been swept under the rug by Dr. Forbes when Ms. Walker gave him a phone call, but it wasn't. He acted appropriately and swiftly. So I think that meets the code of ethics also. That's my presentation on the case study.